Virtual reality is being used in all sorts of innovative ways by devs, within games and without. If you are working on a VR game, or just VR curious, you can learn a lot from how other industries use it. And the next month's Game Developers Conference in San Francisco is a great place to do so. That's because GDC 2019 has an entire review GDC Entertainment VR track-off talks from VR experts who are doing incredible VR work outside of games, including a special session all about how McLaren fast-tracks supercar design using VR that you will not want to miss. McLaren has fast-tracked the supercar design process by introducing a unique VR sketch tool into their studio. Vector Suite allows the designer to sketch directly into 3D, creating initial design concepts and allowing them to effect accurate design changes on the fly, all in an immersive VR environment. These functions were all imperative to the success of the tool, and the transition will demonstrate the challenges and results of 18 months of research and development, literally changing the way McLaren designs cars. Do not skip it. Find more details on this supercharged talk and many more over on GDC 2019 session scheduler. There you can begin to lay out your GDC 2019, which takes place March 18th through the 22nd at the newly renovated Moscone Center in San Francisco. Bring your team to GD, register a group of 10 or more and save 10% on conference passes. Learn more. For more details on GDC 2019, visit the show's official website, or subscribe to regular updates via Facebook, Twitter, or Gamasutra and GD are sibling organizations under parent company Informa, Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning, the single collaboration between Big Huge Games and parent studio, 38 Studios, became an inadvertent teachable moment for the games industry when rocky initial sales, mismanagement, and no end of poor luck resulted in the complete closure of both companies in May 2012. Just 3 months after the game's release, financed in part by a loan from the state of Rhode Island, Reckoning is also a fairly unique case of a AAA game built with the help of alternative funding. In this post-mortem, reprinted from the April 20th, 12 issue of Game Developer magazine, former Big Huge Games executive producer Mike Feely walks through what went right and what went wrong with Kingdoms of Amalur, Reckoning, as production leading up to its ill-fated release. Over 5 years ago, Big Huge Games set out to completely change the type of games we make. We switched from making real-time strategy games to role-playing games, and we started making games for consoles in addition to PCs. We made these changes for several reasons, and although profit was one of those reasons, it was not the only one. We wanted to do something crazy. We wanted to make a big open-world RPG, pretty much the craziest project we could think of short of MMO. But we are all big fans of the genre, and thought we could find our niche in it. So we started our quest to convert the studio into an RPG house. At first, our RPG project was named Crucible, and was being published by THQ. We were making great progress on it, and THQ was happy enough with the progress that they purchased us outright, and we became an internal THQ studio. Around that time, we switched some of the key features of the game and renamed the project Ascendant. We were part of the THQ network of studios for a short period of time right up to the point that THQ started running out of money. Our big, juicy, unproven in the genre studio was a prime target for them to try to sell. With literally days left on the close the doors, timer at the studio. THQ sold us to Kurt Schilling's 38 Studios, which has A. Salvatore as creator of worlds. It became clear pretty quickly that we would need to change the universe and some of the game features yet again to take advantage of robustness. We changed the project name to Mercury, which later was given the final shipping name of Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. For those keeping track at home, in 5 years, we were bought and sold twice, unchanged the name and car features of the project 3 times. Needless to say, it's been a long, strange trip. The rest of the post-mortem will be restricted to the 2.5 years we spent working on Reckoning, rather than the 2 previous false starts. Shortly after we came out of pre-production, we took a long, hard look at the game we were making and tried to figure out where we were going to be better than the competition. We figured that open-world RPG designs are segmented into 4 basic quadrants: story, character progression, exploration, and combat. We discovered that it was easy to identify the games leading the industry in story, progression, and exploration. But there was no clear title that did combat well while still meeting the expectations of the player in the other 3 quadrants. So we decided to go all in on combat, and change our staffing plan to really commit to making combat fun in an open-world RPG. The game was not built solely around combat, but it was definitely built with our flavor of combat in mind. Everything from the minimum size of a dungeon's hallway to the number of enemies we could handle on screen at a time was governed by the guideline that combat had to remain awesome. 2 of the other things that went right during development were direct results of this focus on awesome combat, usability testing, and functional group seating. We made sure that getting feedback from real players was high on our priority list from the very beginning, since we could not just release work in progress builds to the public and take surveys. We did the next best thing and took advantage of this usability lab very early in the development process. The lab actually allowed us to pull in testers from the general public and use them for highly focused testing on systems of content that we were currently developing. For example, if we had the first pass of a crafting system in the game, we could pull in a dozen or so players for a half day and get some players' feedback on whether the interface was easy to navigate, or whether blacksmithing felt rewarding. Since these lab recorded videos of the rapid sessions, we were also able to show our team what the players thought of their part of the game. If the attack chain you were working on felt bad, or the quest did not make any sense to the normal player, the team that worked on those areas of the game got to hear it straight from the consumer's mouth. That kind of direct feedback from the player really helped us fine-tune the combat system, and ultimately, the entire game. As part of our development philosophy, we have cross-departmental teams working closely together. A lot of studios do this. But until this project, we did not really push seating functional groups of people together at but some of that may have been because the physical structure of the studio did not lend itself to more than 3 people in an office. Or it could have been just old school thinking that never changed until it was forced to change. We did eventually break down the walls, literally, and start sitting larger functional groups together in what we called pits around the office. For example, the combat pit had animators and designers all sitting side by side. This way, an animator working on an attack chain could be sitting just a few feet away from the designer implementing and fiddling with it in-game. They could easily look at each other's work and offer comments or critiques very quickly. However, functional groups are less about speeding up the feedback process and more about forcing interaction. A lot of developers are lazy about socializing, are unaware of what is going on outside their office. But when the people you are directly working with are in your face all day, you start to bond with them. A lot of our functional groups became pretty tight-knit and hung out after hours.